So that's what he said.
Make your mind up on Chicago, though?
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when, we're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing.
Bueno, señores, ya es oficial. El presidente de los Estados Unidos, Donald Trump, acaba de anunciar que va a desplegar la Guardia Nacional en Chicago. En las últimas semanas ya venía indicando que estaba considerando Chicago como la futura sede de su ofensiva en contra de la delincuencia. Más aún cuando lunes, Kristi Noem confirmó que ya tenían agentes de ICE infiltrados en Chicago. Pues hoy ya es una realidad. Pero lo que muchos no ven, amigos, sobre este tema es que, una vez más, se trata del encubrimiento de siempre. Su desplome en las encuestas, su salud en decadencia, el escándalo de Jeffrey Epstein, que pues ha vuelto al Congreso, todo esto lo intenta tapar. Y en esta ocasión también vimos otro ejemplo muy claro, y es que se filtró un post del Pentágono, supuestamente se filtró por accidente en su página web, y lo borraron enseguida. Vamos a repasar todos los detalles por qué es que borraron esa publicación y qué es lo que significa. Pero antes, para poder entender el nivel de farsa de Trump, quiero que primero veamos el verdadero objetivo de esa rueda de prensa que dio, y fue atacar al gobernador J.B. Pritzker.
I know how Donald Trump thinks because I've been governor during both of his terms. He has surrounded himself with groveling yes men who are too weak to restrain his most violent and unhinged impulses, or who share those impulses. As a governor who cares about the well-being of my people, I can't live in a fantasy land where I pretend Trump is not tearing this country apart for personal greed and power. I have to deal in facts, and here they are. Crime is down in Chicago. Murders are down by almost 50% in the last 4 years. Shootings are down 57%. Robberies down 34%. Burglaries down 21%. Motor vehicle thefts down 26%. One violent crime is too many, and we have more work to do. But we have made important progress on safety that Trump is now jeopardizing. Just during the last week, I've been in neighborhoods across Chicago, from Bronzeville to South Shore to Chatham to Little Village. The president's absurd characterizations do not match what is happening on the ground here. He has no idea what he's talking about. There is no emergency that warrants deployment of troops.
Lo que está haciendo Trump es puro teatro. Todo es un montaje. El tema de enviar la Guardia Nacional no es una solución real a los problemas de criminalidad que él mismo exagera para meter miedo. Eso solo sirve ¿para qué? Para tener un estado policial controlado por Trump, por empresas como Palantir, las que sueñan con vigilar cada palabra que tú dices. Y si te atreves a criticarlo, pues bueno, te preparas, porque sus matones no tardan en aparecer en tu puerta. Si de verdad quisieran cambios, hablaríamos de soluciones estructurales a problemas como el encarcelamiento masivo, la falta de vivienda. Pero no, Trump no quiere nada de eso. Él quiere solo show. Por eso es tan importante que haya más gobernadores, tanto demócratas como republicanos, como J.B. Pritzker, que no tengan miedo en exponerlo, tal y como vimos recientemente.
I'm aware that the President of the United States likes to go on television and beg me to call and ask him for troops. I find this extraordinarily strange, as Chicago does not want troops on our streets. I also have experience asking the President for assistance, just to have the rug pulled out from underneath me when execution meets reality. I refuse to play a reality game show with Donald Trump again. What I want are the federal dollars that have been promised to Illinois and Chicago for violence prevention programs that have proven to work. That is money that Illinois taxpayers send to the federal government, and it's an insult to any and every citizen to suggest that any governor should have to beg the president of any political party for resources owed their people.
Donald Trump va a hacer cualquier cosa para parecer duro, para poder proyectar esa imagen de hombre fuerte. La realidad es que no lo es, y los demócratas van a tener que entender esto de una vez. No se trata de dejar que Trump defina esta narrativa del crimen con mentiras, cuando en realidad en ciudades demócratas como Nueva York o como Chicago los índices demuestran que ha bajado. Hay que decirlo claro y sin miedo. Pues bueno, el tema del post eliminado, señores, es que el famoso anuncio de Trump que tanto quería reservar para su show, porque estuvo desaparecido como 6 días, y resulta pues que el Pentágono lo filtró por accidente en su página web. Y bueno, luego lo borraron enseguida. Bueno, el gran misterio de Trump ya no era sorpresa, que iba a anunciar la reubicación del Comando Espacial de Estados Unidos de Colorado Springs a Huntsville, Alabama. Una decisión más que todo política, ¿no? Porque no es nada estratégico. Hablamos de que miles de empleos se van a perder en Colorado, pero bueno, a Trump no le importa eso. Ahora bien, ¿por qué borraron el post? Porque, pues, obvio, Trump estuvo desaparecido como 6 días o 7 días. Y de repente iba a aparecer en conferencia de prensa, ¿no? Obvio que quería a sus aduladores de siempre, ahí detrás del micrófono, diciéndole: señor presidente, usted es increíble, está más saludable que nunca, se ve fantástico, señor, lo amamos, es el mejor. Ese es el espectáculo que buscaba, puro teatro barato. Y claro, como siempre, pues no salió bien, ¿no? Porque hasta el propio Pete Hegseth terminó filtrando una vez más información. Por eso es que Trump regresó a lo único que sabe hacer, atacar, tal y como vimos con su embestida contra Chicago y J.B. Pritzker.
So that's what he said.
Make your mind up on Chicago, though?
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when, we're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When we lose, when 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks and 75 are shot with bullets. So let me tell you a little story about a place called D.C., District of Columbia, right here where we are. It's now a safe zone.
Esto, sin duda alguna, no es fortaleza, es imposición. Donald Trump no está intentando o interesado o en querer solucionar algo a largo plazo. Solo quiere manipular la narrativa y alimentar este ego que tiene. No hay que justificar cada crítica con un pero hay que decirlo, señores, tal cual. A Donald Trump nunca le ha importado la gente. Nunca le va a importar. Y ojo, amigos, porque este tema de Chicago no es nada comparado con lo que se viene, la verdad, porque en este momento en el Congreso de los Estados Unidos, Donald Trump va a estar enfrentando un tema que detesta, y es la conferencia de prensa sobre Jeffrey Epstein.
Donald Trump has tried many ways to tamp down this Epstein debacle, a scandal that haunts him, that has taken traction on the right. He has pleaded with people to let it go. He's called it boring. We have reporting that he and aides have pressured MAGA voices, basically cajoling or threatening them to say, please let this one go. Some podcasters all but admitted that. And then, of course, they fired the lead prosecutor over the case. They gave Maxwell a better prison to be in and conducted a very unusual interview. All of that, of course, designed to quiet things. So here we are on Labor Day, going into the return from summer, a time where the Trump allies said this will be done by then. And that's not working. Congress is coming back this week. Key members, including Congressman Ro Khanna, a Democrat, are trying to elevate the issue, but also do something that they say the Trump DOJ has failed to do, which is listen to the Epstein survivors.
What will be explosive is the September 3rd press conference that both of us are having with 10 Epstein victims, many who have never spoken out before. They're going to be on the steps of the Capitol. They will be telling their story, and they will be saying clearly to the American public that they want the release of the Epstein files for full closure on this matter.
I was speaking, Khanna speaking Sunday. He has a Republican who's along for this effort, and they will basically try to platform what you heard there. A presentation by the survivors about Epstein's abuse. Whether it goes directly at the Trump DOJ's treatment, we don't know, but some of these survivors have already, through lawyers and spokespeople, said that they are very concerned about the leniency for Maxwell and how the whole administration has been approaching it just recently. If you go back far enough, you heard the congressman say many of them have never spoken, and they haven't spoken all together in this format. But some, of course, have spoken out. Dateline interviewed many Epstein accusers in 2019.
What did it mean to stand up in court, to meet each other, to hear other stories?
It was such a powerful moment to stand in court, knowing how we all had this common experience. And we didn't know each other, but we did.
Do you feel let down by the justice system?
I don't know if you girls feel the same, but I feel let down.
They failed us before. Don't fail us again.
Exactly.
That's all we're asking. Take us serious.
I think that there should be still some accountability for a lot of the people that were enabling Epstein.
You don't have to take my voice and believe everything I say, but follow the facts. Look at the flight logs.
There are logs, there is evidence, and then there's the material that the Trump DOJ has not released. Then there's the fact that they've been helping Epstein's only convicted co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, and surfacing or providing what is not considered credible testimony, someone who's convicted, and just appealing their conviction, which means they continue to have to maintain that they're innocent in some way. A lot of questions about why the Trump DOJ is helping Maxwell.
Trump va a intentar distraer, va a intentar desviar la atención, va a mandar al Congreso a casa, lo que sea. ¿Por qué? Porque sabe que este es un tema que lo hunde. Él no solo trata de tapar la investigación sobre Epstein, sino que también de proteger a toda una red de multimillonarios que están involucrados en este crimen. Una vez más, señores, Trump siempre va a proteger a los ricos y a los poderosos, jamás al pueblo. Y en esto, amigos, en la retórica del pueblo, tengo que hablar de este tema sí o sí. Lo que está pasando con la familia de Trump es de no creer, porque se acaba de revelar que han acumulado más de $5,000 millones en criptomonedas. Literalmente, señores, con esta última, no quiero decir estafa, ¿no? Pero este último negocio que han hecho. Amigos, lo peor no solo es la cifra. Lo peor es el conflicto de interés descarado que esto representa. Quiero que hablemos un poco de cómo Trump ha convertido el boom de las criptomonedas en su mina de oro personal. ¿Y por qué es que esto podría ser un riesgo no solo en lo económico, sino que también en lo político para Estados Unidos en las futuras generaciones? Escuchemos esta noticia.
The Trump family is making billions off of crypto. World Liberty Financial, the venture co-founded by the president's three sons, has earned the family $5 billion in paper wealth after it opened trading on a new digital currency, making it available for buying and selling on the open market. According to the Wall Street Journal, the trading debut was most likely the biggest financial success for the president's family since the inauguration, and cryptocurrency is likely now the Trump's most valuable asset, exceeding their decades-old property portfolio. Joining us now, Professor of Economics and Public Policy at the University of Michigan, Justin Wolfer, is co-founder and Director of Economic Policy at Veda Partners, Henrietta Trace, and Managing Editor of The Bulwark, and MSNBC contributor Sam Stein. So, Sam, why might this, if this was not Trump or some other president, why might people say, wait a minute, how much money are you making, and who exactly is contributing this cash, and where is it coming from? Is this the same? Could you say this is like the Trump Hotel, except, you know, amplified by a million? $1 billion, $5 billion.
By $1 billion, by $5 billion. No, this is all above board, Katie. We should not even care. No, of course, it's crazy. We've never seen in our history anything remotely like this, in which the president's family is creating what is paper wealth, but still wealth, $5 billion, while they are accumulating political power, and doing it in such a way that is kind of openly allowing for the corruption of the business. We've seen instances of people who are seeking presidential favors invest in Trump businesses and ultimately receive such favors. We've seen no effort by the Trump family to try to shield in any way, in any significant way at least, the president from the appearance of conflict of interest. And of course, there is just a basic conflict of interest here in that the federal government is in the process of crafting new regulations for cryptocurrency. And Trump has been very open about the idea that he wants very few regulations, that he's going to be a crypto president. And they have been outward about the fact that they want to invest and profit from this new crypto venture. And so you have a confluence of factors here that is unlike anything we've ever seen in terms of the corruption of the presidency. But with Trump, it's so blatant and it's so public that it tends to become like the, 23rd or 24th most important story of the day.
What is the visibility that we have into this crypto venture, Justin? Do we have any idea who's buying this stuff, who's selling it?
Yes. So one of the venture, one part of the venture is what's called a stable coin, which is here's an asset that's worth $1, and we promise it'll always be worth $1. By the way, if anyone wants an asset worth $1, it's called a $1 bill. You can just get them from any bank. But those stable coins, the value of those is currently being held up by Binance. The former CEO of Binance is in jail right now, sort of hoping for a bit of a pardon. And so right there's your conflict of interest. But there's something deeper here, Katie. It's quite possible the next financial crisis is a crypto crisis, that all of a sudden the value of these things goes to zero. Now, this whole thing's just a casino, and if Vegas goes bankrupt, we let them go bankrupt. But if the president goes down with it, I have a funny feeling there might be a bailout, and it's a bailout of yours and my money to keep a bunch of grifters rich. And I think it's a very, very big worry for the future of financial stability.
All right, so there's the crypto venture. By the way, I mean, I'd be crazy not to mention that the Republicans were going after President Biden's son, Hunter Biden, claiming that he was selling and peddling influence while the president was not just the vice president, but also a senator for a long time. I don't understand what the difference is between what would they argue the difference is between what Hunter Biden was allegedly doing and what Donald Trump's 3 adult sons have been doing with many things, including crypto.
Well, I think that the thing you're failing to understand here, Katie, is Hunter Biden was a very bad artist, and his art was terrible. The president's sons are crypto geniuses, each and every one of them financial wizards. Not only are they financial wizards, they're also social media giants and businessmen of the highest order. So the moment the Trump name goes to anything, of course, it's a return purely to the genius of these brilliant young men and not at all about corruption. At least I think that's the official story.
Henrietta, we've been watching the markets. They've been down today. This is Donald Trump's trying to blame the court ruling against his tariffs, saying the reason the markets are down is because he's not allowed to impose his tariffs, even though they, by the way, are still in place. And then he argues that without these tariffs, we won't have a country. Is that what's going on?
Well, it's kind of an interesting dynamic. There's a little bit of all of this tied into it. Right now, we have sort of a tale of two markets, which is that the bond markets are telling you that without the estimated $4 trillion in revenue that the president is collecting off of these tariffs that are paid for by U.S. consumers, we're not going to have enough money to be able to handle our debt load, let alone our interest load. And what would happen in that scenario is that it would become very apparent that the one big beautiful bill that is the most expensive tax bill that has ever passed in U.S. history actually adds so much to the debt, even after kicking 12 million people off of Medicaid, that they are going to look at a serious problem with U.S. treasuries, U.S. bond markets, and the rest. And that's what investors are starting to digest now. We held a conference call with international lawyers on Saturday for our clients right after the ruling came out on Friday night, and they give 65% odds to the Supreme Court holding up what two other courts already have, which is to say these tariffs are null and void. The president does not have this authority. And then you have on the other side retailers like Walmart and Target and Dollar General who are saying, oh, thank God, we don't have to pay these tariffs now. We don't have to pass 60% tariffs on to consumers if our good comes in from Vietnam or Indonesia or the Philippines, because they have a 20% IEEPA tariff plus a trans-shipping tariff. So it's really a lot to digest for markets, and the chaos that we're seeing is really a come-to-Jesus moment that I imagine will last for at least another couple months.
That's interesting. So if the tariffs don't stand, the Supreme Court rules the same way the lower courts have ruled. Who gets that money back? How does that money get refunded?
That's the question of the hour. There's going to be questions about whether there can be one giant civil court case or whether every single importer is going to have to go and ask for a refund individually. And they'll go to Customs and Border Patrol and they'll say, hey, yo, give me my money back. And by the way, I want interest. So there is no Treasury working group digesting this right now. So it's going to be a bit of a quagmire for a while. But for the markets right now, it's not really about the $150 billion or so that the administration has raised so far. It's about the $3 trillion that they're expected to raise over the next decade. So,
Ok, amigos, lo que acabamos de escuchar es el ejemplo clarísimo de cómo Trump y su familia se aprovechan de su nombre, de su influencia política, para seguir generando fortuna. Ojo, aquí no estamos hablando de un empresario común que está invirtiendo en un activo riesgoso. Estamos hablando del presidente de los Estados Unidos. Esa es la diferencia brutal. Mientras el gobierno federal está discutiendo cómo regular las criptomonedas, pues bueno, la familia de Trump ya está sentada sobre una fortuna en este mismo mercado. ¿Cómo podemos esperar que Trump, siendo presidente, siendo el juez, y en parte, ¿no?, quiera regular de manera justa un sector que le está llenando los bolsillos? O sea, es como poner al lobo a cargo del gallinero. Y no se trata no solo de la riqueza en papel. Recordemos que el valor de estas criptomonedas están sostenidas por actores con intereses oscuros, como lo es el ex CEO de Binance, que ahora mismo está enfrentando problemas legales. ¿Casualidad? No lo creo. Aquí, amigos, hay un claro intercambio de favores esperando explotar. Indultos, regulaciones a medida, un sistema financiero convertido en casino prácticamente, donde la familia de Trump siempre gana. Sé que algunos me dirán, pero bueno, el tema de Hunter Biden, por ejemplo, que recordemos que fue de lo más famoso en estos últimos años, que también hizo negocios turbios. Aquí tenemos que ser claros. No es lo mismo tu hijo vendiendo cuadros mediocres que toda una familia presidencial amasando miles de millones de dólares mientras controlan la política del país. Y posiblemente futura política económica, porque quiere sacar al presidente de la Fed. Amigos, la escala y la implicación es algo completamente diferente. Aquí no hay cómo puedan defender esto. Y lo más peligroso, porque si este castillo de naipes de las criptomonedas se derrumba, ustedes, ¿quién cree que va a pagar el rescate de todo esto? Será el ciudadano común, el contribuyente. Porque nadie, señores, me quita de la cabeza que llegado el momento Trump va a presionar por un rescate con dinero público para salvar su fortuna. La historia de los Trump y de sus millones y miles de millones de dólares en criptomonedas no es un triunfo financiero, señores. Es un escándalo de corrupción a plena vista. Una demostración de cómo se mezcla el poder político con intereses económicos, privados, etcétera, de toda una familia presidencial. Aquí es donde yo a ustedes les pregunto, ¿creen que Trump debería tener permitido manejar el tema de la regulación de un mercado donde su propia familia ya está amasando una fortuna? ¿O será que estamos frente al mayor conflicto de interés en esta era? Los invito a que me dejen sus opiniones en la caja de comentarios. Muchísimas gracias, señores, por acompañarme hasta el final de este video. Recuerden, como siempre, darle like, comparte el contenido y suscríbete a nuestro canal. Nos vemos en el próximo video. Hasta luego.